is going on, guys? JD from New York here, and tonight, live on the WWE Network, is a show you can't miss, man. Takeover is always one of those things where we're grounded at home. Each and every time one takes place, there's always a certain buzz, there's always a certain excitement around it, and tonight is no different, man. NXT Takeover the End, live on the WWE Network from Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. Tonight signifies the end, not of NXT, not of WWE NXT Takeover events going forward in the future for the company, but it signifies the end of two specific feuds. American Alpha defending the NXT Tag Team Championships against Dash and Dawson of the Revival, and the main event, Samoa Joe defending his newly won NXT Championship against the man that he took it from at a house show in Lowell, Massachusetts, the Demon, Finn Balor. That is what the end signifies. NXT is not going anywhere. Takeover is not going anywhere, being that they just announced Takeover Brooklyn and tickets go on sale this Saturday. NXT is not going anywhere. We all jump to conclusions like we usually do in the IWC, but Takeover is going to be alive and well after this show. And I'm sure there's going to be surprises to get you excited about what the future holds for NXT tonight. Now, I figured I'd give you guys a preview and predictions video in the Off The Script time slot, usually at 11 a.m., and I want to get you guys ready. I wanted to do this yesterday, but I didn't feel good yesterday. I was a little fatigued. Work has fucking killed me, so I need that day to just lay around and do nothing and just recoup. And now I'm good to go. I got my coffee. I'm going to be making videos all day. We're going to talk about WWE. Obviously, with this preview and predictions video later on tonight, we're going to review the show after it goes off the air on the network, and then out of nowhere with Joe and I over on his channel, man. You got a lot of content to look forward to today, so strap yourselves in and make sure you're ready for everything that's coming your way. Before we get into the NXT preview and predictions, guys, I do want to shout out Justin LaBar. He's a friend of mine, and I'm very fortunate to have met him in person and hang out with him and pick his brain a little bit and get his insight on many things. And yesterday, he was in a conference call for NXT and Triple H. Triple H conducted this conference call, and I'm going to go over the most important things that he sat in on and that he tweeted. This is from his official Twitter account, at Justin LaBar. If you guys want to go over there and follow him, he's got a great mind, great insight. He's just very level-headed on everything in the world of professional wrestling, man. So I would really recommend you guys go and check him out, okay? Triple H on the line says he enjoys these calls. He's really excited about the debut of Andrade Cien Almas, which we'll talk about in a second. He's debuting tonight at TakeOver against Ty Dillinger. Perfect 10. Says he will be a big player in NXT. Triple H says the tag match will continue to make tag team wrestling bigger. He also says Austin Aries versus Nakamura, probably a match people have wanted for years. Triple H says Asuka is probably the most dominant women's champion they've ever had in NXT, and praises Nia Jax for being unique and a worthy competitor. Triple H says Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor, to be able to carry this rivalry for 7 months and keep it fresh is a testament to both talents, which I will add on a little bit later in this review. Triple H says the event being called The End has a lot of meaning, and you'll see what that exactly means on Wednesday. Triple H says after NXT special, he included, all head over to the UK for the Download Festival and UK tour of NXT live events. So Triple H will be touring with the brand. Triple H, end of month 32 of Best Cruiserweights from around the world, coming to Orlando for Best Cruiserweight Tournament in the world. So I can't wait for that, man. I love the tournament aspect. 32 of the best cruiserweights from around the world, showcasing their talents in the WWE Cruiserweight Open, man. That is going to be phenomenal for the network, and it's going to open the doors for talent to come on into NXT and replenish that roster, being that the rumors are the NXT talent, or some of it, the most important part of it, will be moved up to the main roster to fill gaps in the roster up there for the WWE Draft. Speaking of the draft, Triple H says, according to LeBar, on NXT roster after brand split, thinks roster will look different, but says he does not know for sure at this time. Triple H on the brand split on NXT internally. NXT and Performance Center create in-ring talent, road agents, and production. Okay, so the Performance Center creates all that and gives you NXT. So it creates the in-ring talent, the road agents, and the production. So if NXT is going to have certain pieces pulled from its brand to move up to the main roster, internally they are going to work with what they got and promote where they see fit. On the brand split, changing NXT touring, it's a juggle, says Triple H. If people leave NXT for Raw or SmackDown, he has 70 or 80 at the Performance Center wanting an opportunity. Triple H says one way or the other. He will make sure NXT keeps delivering to its fans. He's excited for talent having opportunity. Massive talent pool in the United Kingdom, but tries to keep his eyes global and never focuses on one spot. Triple H also says that there is a time where cruiserweight only meant high flying, but now there are guys technically talented, and there's been a shift in the style of the cruiserweight. Says it goes from a car crash style to better long-term storytelling. After a while, all the acrobatic stuff, you lose that wow factor. And I like that the cruiserweights have transformed into being more than just high-flying stunts, high spots, because these guys, and from what I'm hearing, they offer so much more than that. Eric Young and Bobby Roode were brought up, which I will also talk about on Off the Script this Friday. Eric Young and Bobby Roode, both talented, says Triple H. Contract status being worked out with both. Hope it works out with both. We may actually end up seeing Bobby Roode tonight at NXT Takeover, the end. And I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I think we see the debut tonight of Bobby Roode in the WWE at tonight's show. Triple H says just NXT will do 180 to 190 events in 2016. Add Raw and SmackDown, you're at 500 total for the company. He doesn't know anything else that tours as much as the WWE. Triple H dwells on Hideo Itami, still recovering from surgery and had issue with scar tissue and mobility, wants him 100% before returning. Triple H also states that he's starting to throw out ideas about a women's tournament, and he's heard it buzzed about. Says he would like to do it if the timing is right. So not only a cruiserweight tournament to find new talent for NXT, but a women's tournament to find new stars for the women's division of NXT. That would be fucking great. Triple H talks about Joe and Balor in the cage. He went on to say that with them in the concept, it just felt right. It was right rivalry. It was the right moment. It felt like it needed closure. Joe versus Balor tonight in a steel cage for the NXT Championship. Says NXT doesn't use a lot of gimmicks, and he felt this was the right place and time with both guys. Says he personally wants to see this match as a fan. Triple H says Asuka versus Nia Jax stylistically is intriguing to him, as well as the conflict of styles, which makes it a good fight. Triple H says getting cruiserweight talent and preparing for a tournament has been fun for him. Loves getting more eyes on some of those guys. Triple H says Cruiserweight Classic has a chance to be big, and it has to be, he says it's going to be big, has a chance to be big, and the wow moment. It's going to be a big wow moment in the business. Triple H also talks about Brock Lesnar fighting for UFC, and could Performance Center be training ground for MMA fighters coming over? He says that he's had a field of calls from MMA athletes wanting to try out for the WWE. Says things like what's going on with Brock opens the doors for WWE to go different avenues with talent and vice versa. Triple H saying closing remarks, talking about impact of Muhammad Ali on the world and what WWE does with personality and charisma. Says he hopes Ali's impact on sports entertainment is never forgotten, and says that he will be at the Barclays Center for SummerSlam weekend, so it's not quite the end people were speculating about. And that ends the conference call yesterday for the WWE right before NXT Takeover. And thank you to Justin LaBar for covering all of that. It's very, very exciting news and very interesting. I was refreshing his page literally every 30 seconds to find out what was going on next and to see if there was any big news articles breaking about this conference call and about NXT and NXT going forward. So thank you to LaBar for that. Make sure you guys go check him out at Justin LaBar on Twitter and check out his podcast and his radio show, Trib Live Radio, and he's obviously got Chair Shot Reality right here on YouTube, CSR Reality on YouTube.com with Josh Eisenberg and Brian Ghoulish, three of the best guys that you can listen to for wrestling talk in the IWC. Now, let's get on with the Takeover card, guys. To end this review, Ty Dillinger versus Andrade Cien Almas. I am not too familiar with Almas. Triple H says he's going to be a big money player in NXT. Ty Dillinger, the perfect 10. I think he's got what it takes to be a very successful main roster addition if he does get drafted to either Raw or SmackDown. I think he's got the look, he's got the charisma, he's got the gimmick. I love what he brings to the table. Obviously here, this is going to be a very, very good debut match for Almas. Ty Dillinger is always one of those guys you could count on for a debut or to get talent over or to get someone in the ring with some new talent that's going to do them right. Ty Dillinger is the guy. I just don't see Ty Dillinger winning here against Almas. Almas is actually going to win, or I should say certainly going to win his debut, being that Triple H says he's a big money player. I'm interested to see what Almas brings to the table. I am not familiar with him. I'm not familiar with where he was before NXT. So if you guys can let me know, please let me know down in the comments below. Ty Dillinger versus Almas. I'm going with Almas. And that's probably going to be something that's going to open the show for tonight at NXT TakeOver at the end. Ty Dillinger always gets a great reaction, man. It's great to see him in action because of the crowd's reception to him, and it's going to be a great opening match tonight on NXT TakeOver. Austin Aries versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This is the match everybody's looking forward to tonight on top of the main event. Austin Aries came into the WWE. He came into NXT with a lot of hype, and that hype has seemed to die down. Now, Austin Aries is worth so much more to me as a WWE superstar, as a wrestling talent, than what he's been given so far in NXT. There was a storyline on NXT television that Austin Aries didn't want to come into WWE just to be one of the regular guys. He didn't just want to be another guy there, you know, on the roster with no fanfare. He's the greatest wrestler that has ever lived, the greatest man that has ever lived, you know, his shtick. And he wants to prove that he belongs. Now, he debuted at NXT Dallas against Baron Corbin, and my reservations with Baron Corbin versus Austin Aries, it wasn't that bad of a match. I was excited to see Austin Aries in NXT. He was one of my guys from TNA that if I had to pick a top 5 who I wanted to come over from TNA into WWE, Austin Aries would definitely be one of them. Bobby Roode was the other. Okay, so Austin Aries in NXT got me very excited because I always enjoyed what he brought to the table. He just didn't have that oomph. He didn't have that spark, you know, that should have came with his debut. He wrestled Baron Corbin, which was a decent match for the undercard at Dallas. But my problem with that is that Baron Corbin, he's been down there for a little bit until they promoted him to the main roster. Now he's feuding with Dolph Ziggler. I always stated that Baron Corbin, still green in the ring, yes, but that doesn't mean he has a bright future ahead of him. I always said that Baron Corbin needs to pick up the pace a little bit when he's in the ring. I think Baron Corbin working with Dolph Ziggler is going to try and get him out of that bubble, but when he was with Aries, Austin Aries wrestled the methodical pace that Baron Corbin is comfortable wrestling, and that's what slowed the match down, and that's what made the match decent instead of very good. Baron Corbin should have been wrestling the style of match that Austin Aries is used to wrestling. And that's why it really didn't jump off the page and jump off the television screen when the match was made and announced and actually happened in the middle of the ring. It was great to see Austin Aries get a win, but it really wasn't a spectacular win. Now he's going against Nakamura. Nakamura has been the most popular guy since debuting in NXT. The match that he had with Sami Zayn, I don't need to go over and tell you guys, you know, that it was fucking phenomenal. Again, you guys know for a fact, I watched it 6 or 7 times this year alone. It was that fucking good. If you haven't missed it, or if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go out and watch it, man. It's the best match of 2016 in the WWE, bar none, no question. But Austin Aries going against Shinsuke Nakamura, I mean, WWE is not going to book Austin Aries to go over Nakamura. It's going to be a great match. They're going to steal the fucking show. It's going to get 25, 30 minutes tonight on NXT TakeOver, but I don't think Austin Aries is going to walk out of this a winner. He's going to be in one of the best matches this year, but it's not going to get him that W that he needs. He needs a solid win against a big-time opponent. You know, it's great to be in there with Nakamura. It's great to showcase your skills against one of the best talents in the world, but if you're not coming out on top with a W, it's going to hinder him from getting that, you know, that wow factor, that, you know, that Austin Aries hype. You know, he's going to look great in the ring. Nakamura is going to make him look great. Austin Aries is going to make himself look great in the ring. It's going to be a great match. But he needs a W. He needs a W. Nakamura is going to win here. And after this, my opinion on Nakamura, he is going to be the face of that company. He is going to be the next in line for an NXT Championship match. And I do believe Nakamura is going to be the challenger at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn for the NXT Championship. Whoever the champion is walking out of tonight's show, Nakamura will be there as the #1 contender for that championship. Why? Because look at the way he has been received upon entering NXT. Look at the work he has done. And look at everything that the man embodies for NXT. You know, if Finn Balor is moving to the main roster like everybody's speculating, you need a face for that brand. WWE is not going to be foolish, and I really thought long and hard about this. They are not going to strip NXT of everybody. That would be foolish. They need at least a few top faces to help them with touring. They need a few top faces to help them sell that brand when a takeover event comes around. They need a few top faces to help, you know, book the regular programming on the WWE Network. Nakamura will be that guy once Finn Balor is moved up to the main roster. And Nakamura will be the #1 contender after tonight. Nakamura is going to go on to win tonight against Austin Aries. I am looking forward to hearing Corey Graves just yell Kinshasa at the end of that match, man. Unbelievable. Nakamura is going to get the win in a great fucking match that's going to steal the show tonight on the pay-per-view. NXT Women's title match, Asuka versus Nia Jax. I am not completely sold on Nia Jax. I will get there, but I am not there yet. Okay? Asuka versus Nia Jax. People are thinking, JD, I think it should be Bayley. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, I know. Bayley is going to get her rematch. She is not going to go anywhere. She's not going to go anywhere without getting a rematch against Asuka for that NXT Women's Championship. I like this match, and I like the build for this match. It hasn't been the greatest build. You know, obviously, there's a lot to base it off of if you're going to compare it to the Bayley Banks, you know, and Bayley Asuka build that they had. It's not quite those feuds, but what they've done in the few weeks that they've had to work with, I've enjoyed. Especially the contract signing on this past week's NXT television program on the network. Nia Jax looked dominant coming out of that contract signing. And she looks intimidating, you know. She's got to lay off the scripted lines a little bit. She's got to sound a little bit more natural. But Nia Jax comes out of that contract signing, powerbombing Asuka, and she looks dominant, saying that, I didn't just beat Bayley. I broke Bayley, and you will fear me, she says, Asuka. And then Asuka, you know, I don't think Asuka should have a microphone. Wasn't bad, but I don't want to see Asuka with a microphone in her hand, man. She doesn't really speak the English language all that great. You can understand her, but she's saying, I'm not going to fear you, and etc., etc., etc. But Nia Jax versus Asuka, this is going to be a decent match. It's not going to be one of those matches for the women's division that's going to captivate you like a Bayley versus Sasha Banks or even a Bayley versus Asuka. It's going to get the job done, and this is going to be a precursor to what we see for Bayley coming up at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. WWE has two ways to go about this. I do not see Asuka losing this match. Asuka hasn't been pinned yet, and I don't think they're going to waste Asuka taking a first loss against Nia Jax. I don't think WWE is going to give Nia Jax the NXT Women's Championship just yet. They might be setting her up for that big win, but it's not going to be right now. WWE has two ways to go about this. Number one, Asuka can beat Nia Jax, and this can just be a layover until we get to Brooklyn versus Bayley. Okay? That's number one. Number two, Asuka can win here, and Nia Jax can look dominant enough in this match to the point where she can go to William Regal and say, I want a fucking rematch. I brought Asuka to the limit. I broke Bayley. I had Asuka beaten by the skin of her ass, and I want another rematch. And Bayley can come in here and say, listen, I didn't get my rematch yet. And William Regal can do one of two things. He cannot listen to Nia Jax, and he can grant Bayley her rematch first, and they could go one-on-one, which I would prefer at Brooklyn, because that would be a take on what they did last year with Sasha Banks and Bayley. So that could be one-on-one. Asuka versus Bayley 2 rematch at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Or WWE can go in another route, another way, and I wouldn't mind this either, but I prefer route number one. They could go with the triple threat match. Asuka versus Nia Jax versus Bayley at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, in which Nia Jax looks dominant, and she cements her legacy in NXT by beating not only Asuka, but Bayley in a triple threat match to win the Women's Championship, and that will be Bayley's final match in Brooklyn before she moves up to the main roster, and she does what she's got to do on the main roster. Those are the two different scenarios that I see happening. But Asuka is going to win tonight at NXT TakeOver, the end, and she's going to retain her championship. So those are the two scenarios. Let me know what you guys think about that. Tag Team Championship match, American Alpha versus The Revival. Tag Team Wrestling has been a staple in NXT. Chiappa and Gargano are two of my favorite guys. Small, yes, but they get the job done as a fucking tag team. They went against TM61 a couple of weeks back. Fantastic fucking match, and a glimpse into the future of what NXT Tag Team Wrestling is going to be if both American Alpha and The Revival get called up to the main roster. But now we got American Alpha versus The Revival again in a rematch from Dallas. NXT Championship match for the Tag Team Championships. American Alpha, to me, is too hot. They haven't had a run with the belt yet. I do not see The Revival winning this match yet. In fact, if American Alpha, like I do expect, win this match, I think The Revival is going to get called up to the main roster to pretty much add depth to the tag team roster, because at this point, I don't know what WWE is doing, but I have a really bad feeling that they're going to split the tag team belts, and they're going to add tag team titles on SmackDown and tag team titles on Raw, and they're going to need more teams to fill out that depth. I think The Revival are going to get the call up to the main roster. American Alpha hasn't had a run with the Tag Team Championships yet, so it's too soon to take the belts off of them. And where they go from here and who their next challengers are going to be, man, I have no idea. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about with NXT right now. The tag team division is thinned. There really isn't a team that could step up to the plate and challenge American Alpha, or there isn't even a team there that could really say, listen, we've done this and this and this, and we deserve a tag team championship match. There really hasn't been that type of team. So, American Alpha are going to win this match. And if they want to book Gargano and Chiappa versus American Alpha at TakeOver Brooklyn, I'll be all for that, man. They've been fucking phenomenal on TV so far. They have a couple more weeks, a month or two to go to really cement their names as the #1 contender for the tag team championships. But I think American Alpha is going to win this. It's going to be a great match. I think they're going to be even better than what they did at Dallas, because the Revival have come into their own. They want revenge. They have been seeking revenge. They've wanted this moment. They feel they never should have lost the belts, and they've been really, really violent and really, really hard on a lot of teams they went up against, man. They're trying to say, you know what? You can't take us lightly, man. You can't take us lightly. What happened at Dallas was a fluke. And they've come out and they've hit harder, they've hit faster, and they've just been a lot more brutal in their attitude, man. It's going to be a great match, and they're going to be seeking revenge tonight. But all in all, I think it's going to come up short against American Alpha. American Alpha is going to retain the NXT Tag Team Championships. And finally, guys, Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship inside a steel cage for the first time ever on NXT. This match is going to be phenomenal, man. I don't even know where to begin with this. All I will say this is, first, the loser of this match is getting promoted. Whether that's Finn Balor or Samoa Joe, both men belong on the main roster. The loser of this match is moving up to the main roster. When and where and how, I don't know. There are rumors going around, and Those rumors, I don't believe to be factual. Take them with a huge box of salt. People are saying that Samoa Joe is being ready to move up to the main roster, and he's going to join the Bullet Club, or the club. I doubt that. There's even rumblings of Nakamura joining the club. I doubt that. I doubt that very highly, okay? But Finn Balor, to me, when you look at Finn Balor, you see someone who is more than ready. You look at Finn Balor and you say to yourself, what more can this guy do for NXT? He's done it all. He's been the face of that fucking brand. He's literally done everything to get that brand to where it is now. You just have a feeling when you watch Finn Balor that this is it. This is it for him. This is the end. No pun intended. This is the end for Finn Balor. I think this is his last match in NXT. And he's going to go out with a fucking explosion. This match is going to be phenomenal. Finn Balor is going to show you why exactly he is one of the best in the world. Why he carried this brand to the heights that it has been so far. And he's going to put on one of the best performances we have ever seen from him in an NXT ring. And he's going to go on to bigger and better and more successful things with Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, whichever brand he is drafted to, and whichever storyline he plays a part in, whether it's the club versus John Cena, whether he, comes and, goes after Roman Reigns in the WWE Championship, whether he goes after AJ Styles, something, I don't know. Whatever he's going to do, it's going to be met with a huge fanfare. Finn Balor is going to be a massive success on the main roster, and this is going to be his last match in NXT. I don't think he's walking out with the NXT Championship. I would be shocked if they take the belt off Joe. I would really be shocked if they take the belt off Joe. Samoa Joe has come into his own as a dick-like, cocky heel, and he showed everybody exactly how talented this man is. He's 35, 36 years old. He is a grizzly veteran. All the years that he spent in Ring of Honor, I've seen things here and there. I don't know I don't know too well of what Joe did in Ring of Honor. I watched him here and there in TNA when TNA was actually watchable. A lot of people, I've heard from a lot of people that Samoa Joe and the work that he's done with NXT and his run with NXT has been the best of his career. The man looks revitalized. The man looks happy. The man looks proud to be where he is. And he's going to give you 100% of what he has each and every time he goes to that ring. There hasn't been one heel, and I'm talking about in the entire WWE. This includes Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a sarcastic heel. He is a cocky heel, but he's sarcastic, and he likes to fucking poke fun at people. Joe is a fucking bully. Joe takes the bully-like heel and the fucking brutal, mean streak attitude, and he fucking amplifies it times 10. Kevin Owens is great, but what Joe is doing as a heel and what Joe is doing as the persona of this rough and tough, mean, tough guy, nobody has even come close to what Samoa Joe is doing. He is definitely deserving of an NXT championship. He's definitely deserving of a championship run, and I do not think they are going to take the belt off of Finn Balor. This is going off of Samoa Joe. Finn Balor's moving up to the main roster. They are going to cement Joe as being this tough guy, this unbeatable guy, and they should really continue this ball rolling, okay? They should really build on what Joe has cemented so far in NXT, and I'll tell you why. Because Brock Lesnar, you look at the main roster right now, there's really nobody on the main roster that I want to see fight Brock Lesnar. Maybe a Randy Orton, that would be great. We've seen everything. Everything's been done. Roman Reigns has been done. John Cena's been done. We really haven't seen Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar one-on-one, but I'm not really too keen on seeing that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Brock Lesnar is staring at Samoa Joe from across the ring and they go one-on-one? Joe is building his personality and his character to the point where if you put him in a ring with Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe is going to make it believable. And there's not a lot of guys on the main roster that are going to make a match with Brock Lesnar look legit. That's the reason why you got to keep Joe looking strong, because that match, before all is said and done, needs to happen. And Joe would be the only one of the very few that make Brock Lesnar and that match look like a legit fucking fight. One of the few people that can hang with Brock Lesnar would be Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is going to walk out of this match retaining the championship. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to be fucking brutal. I think it's going to be one of the best things we see on WWE television all year. Samoa Joe will retain the NXT Championship. He will be going on to NXT Brooklyn, and he's going to be staring Nakamura in the face. At that point, Nakamura will win the NXT Championship, and maybe we see Samoa Joe on the main roster before all is said and done. NXT Takeover the End tonight on the WWE Network, 8 p.m. Eastern. Do not miss it. I will be live tweeting. I will be reviewing after the show goes off the air. And then we got Out of Nowhere tonight live on Joe's channel, man. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you check out my Brother Nero Monday Night Raw review. And I'll be back with more great content right here all day long, especially leading up into Money in the Bank, guys. Don't go anywhere. I got you all covered. I'm JD. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed the review and the video. And I'll see you guys tonight for NXT Takeover The End on the WWE Network. I'll talk to you guys later.